The second day of the nationwide strike in Nigeria is well underway. On Tuesday, tens of thousands of citizens across the nation are again rebelling against the government's decision to halt fuel subsidies.
3 people were shot and killed by police during Monday's protests, and more than 24 others were wounded as security forces used tear gas to disperse demonstrations in Lagos and in the northern city of Kano. Monday's day of massive protests paralyzed the nation of 160 million people, with thousands of angry citizens filling the streets, furious at the government's decision to end the country's fuel subsidy. Banks, government offices and large company buildings were closed, but some markets and small shops were open. Ending the government assistance has caused prices to soar in a country where many survive on less than $2 a day. Many strikers say the leadership of the oil-rich nation needs to be more financially accountable.
They have spent $1.2 billion. Obasanjo spent $800 million. Yar'Adua has spent $400 million on turnaround maintenance. If the refineries are not working, all those that get the contract to must come and be brought to book. We must get our money back. They must now sit down and now attack the governors that have ruled Nigeria for 12 years. All the monies they have stolen from the treasury of Nigerian public must be returned back.
Harmless, innocent Nigerian protesters, right now as I talk to you, they are lying cold in the pool of their blood.
Well, here in Washington, several Nigerians and their supporters turned up outside the World Bank on Monday to protest the end of the fuel subsidies and other austerity measures and on their impact on the lives of the common people. Several Nigerians and their supporters turned up outside the World Bank in Washington Monday to protest the end of the fuel subsidies and other austerity measures and what they say is their impact on the lives of the common people.
Our voices have been heard all over the world. Our brothers back home are protesting, and we are here to show solidarity to them, that we support their struggle.
We are not going to be silent.
Speakers from several rights groups rallied the small crowd, calling out against what they say is an injustice against Nigeria's poor.
I was very appalled by this decision by the Jonathan government to raise this price increase on a short notice. That is a very rude New Year present for Nigerians.
The protest was mixed with speeches, songs, and a general display of allegiance to Nigeria.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest.
It was aimed at the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, with some of the protesters saying those institutions are forcing failed policies on Jonathan and Nigeria.
Those policies have failed all over the world, but still they are forcing Nigeria to end its subsidies. Still they are forcing liberalization, privatization, budget cuts.
Protesters also blamed the World Bank's former managing director, Nigerian Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for influencing Jonathan's decision.
The World Bank gave us this removal of subsidy through their agent called Ngozi Iweala. And this is a big problem right now in Nigeria. People are dying on a daily basis. People cannot have their 3 square meal.
Ngozi Iweala, who is the driving force behind this latest attack on the poor, shows he's gone to Nigeria to implement the agenda of the World Bank. It's very obvious and clear, but unacceptable to Nigerian people. So we came to remind them to take back their secretary, to take her job, and not go and destroy the poor 99% people in Nigeria.
Minister Okonjo-Iweala has attributed the cuts to government policy and dismissed reports that she threatened to resign if the fuel subsidies were reinstated. Meanwhile, Nigeria's National Assembly has called for President Jonathan to suspend the cuts to the subsidies until a more agreeable solution is reached. But some protesters here say they are skeptical that the call is genuine.
It is not like the U.S. Parliament spoke and the government listens. We see this as a ploy to buy time for the government. In saying that, they said, look, Labour should suspend their strike. Go back to your normal business until we find a solution to this. This has happened over and over and over again. We cannot trust the so-called representatives of the people.
Many here say they're also upset that Mr. Jonathan's decision seemed to come without warning. Some offer suggestions as to how he could have averted the crisis and its impact on the country's economy.
One option is for him to have reduced the money that is spent on security. The second option is to cut down on the salaries and the allowances of 17,500 Nigerian public elected officials. Number three, he could have introduced an effective tax system. A lot of companies and wealthy people in Nigeria are evading tax. Number four, he could have increased the oil gradually if he has to do that.